This is Pixel Papas, two sleep-deprived gamer dads hosting a podcast about mobile games marketing and AI, tackling UA challenges and diaper changes. Welcome and enjoy the show. Hello everyone on YouTube, Spotify, another new podcast episode of Pixel Papas. Today with a special guest. He is one of the best art directors I've ever met. He's great at chess. We had amazing discussion at work, at a bar. He is creative lead at SuperScale, currently working for multiple games and have a big portfolio of games he worked for. Please welcome Boris Redli, our new guest.
Boris, hello.
Hello.
You're very special because you're also a very good friend. Like, you're not only somebody from the business,
Yes.
but we actually are close. We drank a couple of times with you. We know you better than many other guests. And yeah, you are special because you combine something unique. You combine creativity and intelligence. That's like the two most human aspects. Creativity is like art. And having like this kind of special traits in one person is unique. That's how I always saw you. Like, I always saw you as just like an artist, super talented artist, but then I realized this dude is like amazing at chess. So this guy is not only super creative, but he's also super smart. What? But yeah, here you are. That's why you're special, Boris.
Okay, thanks. I'm gonna try not to destroy all those assumptions today. So fingers crossed.
You will be tested. They will be tested here. So let's see how long
we will talk about great topic. It's something I didn't see. People were telling their opinions from both sides, but now we are going to combine it. So today's topic is AI versus artist. Since the Boris is artist, art director, as we mentioned, he was also affected by AI, Midjourney, ChatGPT, and everything. So we will have a discussion about that. But let's start on a light note. Milan, go
what do you
on.
play? I know you're a gamer. I know you well. I know you're a gamer. You're a special gamer as well. You don't play traditional games. So what do you play now?
Currently, I'm playing the most. Probably it's Slay the Spire, because I got it on my phone. There's
What is
another
that?
way to get angry at the random number generation. Slay the Spire is a card game which is also a roguelike. You are building a deck and you're ascending the spire, fighting monsters, resolving the various events, and just trying to make your deck good enough to beat all of the floors, all of the bosses. So, and it's real fun. It's a very clever game design, I would say. This is probably one of the best roguelites, if not games, that came out in the last 10 years. So, and rightfully
I'll have assumption. I know because you got me to play Balatro, and I still play it. I actually bought it on Steam and on mobile as well. I played still a lot. Are you playing Slay the Spire because of the local tank, the guy who made Balatro? Because he made some points about it.
I got on the Slay the Spire bandwagon quite early, so actually Balatro just came afterwards. So,
And also Boris played Balatro before it was cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's true. Maybe it was known by the time, but no one in the company knew it back then. So you were the first one who actually, like, I'm playing some roguelike poker game, and I was like, I'm not interested in that. But then what happened?
I think I watched Northern Lion play it. So that was like, I think one of the first like bigger YouTubers / streamers who played it. But I could be wrong. I just know that I got it from him. So maybe
Anyway, thank you for getting me into the Balatro.
Yeah, no worries. I still play it sometimes. I haven't played it in a few weeks, but I still pick it up, play it for a few days, and yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to the AI topic. Martin, you choose the topic. You are, two creative guys. Let's kick it off with a creative AI question on creative guy.
Yeah, so me as an idea maker, I was happy about AI. Like, I could generate in seconds great arts. I was always about like images. It is nice to have something in seconds you can test. But you are the art guy, artist. And we saw many opinions on that. All of them were negative, basically. So how do you feel personally about AI image generation being part of the creative process? Like, are you excited or maybe you fear it?
Okay, so I'm gonna be honest. I don't really feel fear or excitement about AI. I don't really feel strongly most of the time about AI. So maybe we can get into those like fringe situations where I have stronger opinions. But to me, first and foremost, like I consider it a tool, and it's about how the tool is used. And I think that there is space on the market, and the market is very pro AI because of how we're measuring success in today's society and stuff. So I can completely understand it, and maybe I'm not really feeling fear or excitement. The only thing I feel maybe is that I'm a little worried. And I'm worried because with every paradigm shift that comes in technology, just like it came with AI, there's gonna be some loss of knowledge and some reduction of quality. And you can actually already see it with the AI generated art because it's flooding the it's flooding the market, and you can see some diminishing returns from it because people get very jaded against it, because you're still at the point that you can tell it's AI generated, and people are getting more and more desensitized. Is that a word? Yeah. So yeah, it's a tool. Let's use it. Let's use it for what it's good for, and yeah, to just go from there.
And how do you feel about the AI being trained on your work and all other artists' work?
As far as I know, and I'm not an expert on AI, I can have feelings. I'm very good at having feelings. I'm not that good at having data, but especially not from the production side, like how the AI was created. But most of the artists didn't really get any say in whether their art should be used for training or not. So I don't think that was the wisest move or the most transparent and ethical move to do that. But I also feel that the cat came out of the bag somewhat unexpectedly. Like no one expected. When people are training their models in a controlled environment, they can probably get away with more, like I would say, like shady approach. But once it was commercialized and the engine was already trained on art that wasn't given consent to, that's probably where the problem started. Like no one would care if it was in a lab and they were just testing different ways to that the AI can learn. But now that the masses can use it, and the artists are arguably in a worse position than they were before. So yeah, that's something that needs to be addressed. I don't think that currently it's being addressed enough.
Yeah, and I also think it's a little bit too late now. It's like
Yeah.
you cannot go backwards. It's already like the cat is out of the box or
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah,
So
but it was like,
it's hard.
day one, it was just, remember Milan, we were generating the images 6 years back and it was horrible. Maybe 4 years back when it started. I don't know where it was with first version of Midjourney, or it was Stable Diffusion, and it generated something and it was horrible quality. It was like, haha, this is nothing that artists are worried about. It's just some tool when you can something generate and you can use it for something. But then out of nowhere, Midjourney came in and it just happened. Very similar version we have today, and this started to be a problem. So maybe if with the first version of Stable Diffusion, art is started to do this, like saying about stealing, etc., trying to be like involved in it more, then they could stop it. But yeah, I think that now it's too late because big companies are already there and there's no way back.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
I just feel that this is putting the blame on the artist a little bit. Like they should have done something about it. No, it's
No.
like it's the
You
same
cannot
with
predict
the,
this.
it's your fault,
yeah,
Boris.
yeah.
Yeah.
You do not know, and often you don't have the information as an artist. You don't have the information on what's going on at some lab.
Yes,
It's the
yes.
same like with the Steam engine. No one was expecting that the Steam engine is gonna steal your job, and just, it's a different situation, and we need to adapt. And I think there is various ways to adapt. So I wouldn't consider it like a world ending to any of the involved parties. So that's probably some positive note. But yeah, at the same time, it's a shame that it turned out the way it turned out. It could have been handled way better. So yeah.
Yeah, it is what it is now anyway. One of the fixes that people and governments talk about is the tagging of the AI content. Now, some of the AI content is already tagged. At least I see sometimes on Instagram that there's these small tags that it's something has to do with AI. Now, you as an artist, do you think it should be tagged? Because it's just a tool, right? You said it's just a tool, but then should the output be tagged that it has been made with the tool or no?
I don't know whether it should or shouldn't. I feel like there is an argument to be made that generating AI art is kind of like stealing, So maybe just giving people a heads up that this was generated in a way that doesn't benefit the artist. And like the whole problem, in my opinion, is just that we are a very like money-oriented society. And basically, these engines were trained on other people's effort. So what you're doing is stealing people's effort. So in this way, to me, it's even worse than stealing someone's money, because someone put in the hours, someone created the data set, and then you're producing something and making a profit out of it, whereas the other person is making a net loss. That's how the market works.
Okay, and regarding this, like, very interesting opinion, I kind of agree. So, do you think, or I'm not asking, I want to say something first. I believe and I see it that the many of the arts that are, like, as you said, that they're stolen, basically stolen effort, which I agree, wouldn't exist without AI. Like, people wouldn't call art guys that create me these 10 illustrations of bridge I want to test, because it was too expensive for it is time consuming, it is very expensive for developers or the companies to even bring this idea to life and not even be profitable on it. You just need to test it. And we know how mobile gaming marketing works. 90% of stuff doesn't work. So what is your opinion on that?
Okay, so there's maybe two things to unpack here. So there's definitely a use for AI generated images, and one of the huge advantages that you can test out ideas really quickly and iterate really quickly. This doesn't really address the issue that someone didn't give you the consent to train your AI engine on their art, and it can be argued that, most of the art that's produced, they wouldn't go to the artist and ask them to paint anything for them. But I would need data on that, so that's up in the air as far as like how it affects the actual artist. But it's still like you should have a say in how your art is being used. So even regardless of if they're making a loss or not, there's still this ethical issue. But yeah, I think there's definitely room on the market for AI generated art that could be beneficial in the grand scheme of things.
I mean, I also see some kind of a case for regulation, because it's so wild that in current market, I can take your portfolio and train a model that will be like, I'll call the Boris Redli LoRa model. And I can actually set up, I don't know, something on Fiverr or somewhere else. But yeah, like, do you want something similar? I can make it for you for $5. And like, first of all, you'll never know unless you really look for it and you see the similarities. But in reality, I'll just like have your model, have your stuff, and I'll be selling stuff that I've never made anything, and I can train it in one day.
Yeah, but even before AI existed, you could steal art. Like, you could hire artists that give me something in this specific art style, and it would be theft if the original guy found it. So again, if you made LoRa from Boris Redli art and he found that this is my art style, he could sue you.
I mean, if I didn't have really exact stuff that he has in his portfolio, but slightly changed with the model, right? I'll like slightly change the setup in a model that it like looks a little bit different. And how I wonder, like, I don't know, but my guess is that you would never win this in a court, Boris, against me, because I would say like, this is my art, and I used different images from internet that I found, but who knows? I don't know. I'm just making stuff up. But
I'm not a lawyer. It also depends on the country, because the rules are very different in different countries. So copyright usually, like any copyright claims, usually follow the stronger party. So the party that has the better lawyers and more money wins. But that's just a very layman's opinion based on some very few cases that I followed. So maybe having a case is not as important as to who you are. And it's actually happening because when you want to generate something from an IP, some of the engines are not letting you. You know, something that belongs to Disney or whatever, they're already telling you, like, I cannot generate this. So there you can see that the double standards are working here as well.
Definitely.
So.
And we are talking about AI that is learning on existing art, right? They are stealing effort, etc. When the artist is
I also
creating
just
something,
want to clarify a little bit. Sorry, but because I use the word stealing, and it's like a very like charged word. Stealing doesn't happen when the AI bot is learning something, because that's just how they trained it, how it's trained, and I don't think that's that much of an issue. The stealing happens only afterwards, when the person uses this like accumulated data to produce. I don't know if that makes sense, but there's a distinction. I'm not against AI. I'm against like unethical use of AI. So those are slightly different things, I think.
so we don't think that learning AI, how they use it, but training AI by the way they did, it was for profit. They wanted to market it. So stealing, I think, is a part of it, part of this as well. There is discussion market. Yeah, now you said that selling is the stealing, learning is just the training. But market, I would say that many artists wouldn't agree with you that learning is stealing because they just use it without your consent, your art. So don't you think that this is the thing the artists are doing when they are creating some new arts? They are just scanning the market, scanning the visuals, looking through it, looking for small details, and like, okay, I'm gonna use something like this, something like this. I'm gonna use this from this art and create something new, which later will create their own art style. Isn't this the same thing with AI?
I'm gonna have a think about this, but there is a difference because it again boils down to I value effort a lot in people. So my answer is also gonna come from that place. And when you're learning something, you're dedicating time and dedicating effort, and you're dedicating time and effort to create something, and maybe something new, or maybe something that's inspired by something else, that doesn't really matter. And that's why I'm not against the AI using data just like we are using data. It's using images just like we are using images. It's just capable of processing way more images and maybe come up with some more comprehensive solutions for what it's seeing, or in a different way than humans are learning. But it's not the same as someone comes and uses this accumulated knowledge, which they didn't really contribute to, and use it as their own, or claim that it's their own. So there's a difference to be made.
I agree with
Who's
you.
doing the learning is the question.
Yeah, I agree with you. So it's a machine at the end versus
Yeah.
human. It's not fair fight. So it's not the same thing. I just want to know your opinion. Okay, so Milan, do you have any question you want to ask this topic? Because you're now just
Yeah,
listening.
I'll just, it's never supposed to be about like, and Boris, we are living in a capitalistic market world where, yeah, you just want to make more money. So we develop tools that are better than humans. And, like, so I agree with you. At the same time, I agree that there should be some regulation to maybe protect artists. At the same time, I think it's too late for it. But yeah, it's always about more performance, better tool, and more money. And now we live in this world, right? And especially in our business, in mobile games marketing, performance beats beauty. It's something that just works. It doesn't necessarily need to be polished and awesome looking. Does it bother you as an artist?
I have a very short answer, and it just says no.
No.
But I can elaborate a little bit.
Do, please.
Yeah. So every product, and even if you're an artist, you're creating a product in some way. It has an objective. It has a purpose. So for me, creativity means that you're solving a problem, and if you solve the problem in a successful way, maybe the ad is performing well, it doesn't really matter like if it's beautiful or not, because when you're making an ad, your objective is not making it beautiful, your objective is making it perform well. So in this case, when I'm creating an ad, I'm not aiming for beauty. It's always nice when you can like make something like artistic or whatever that's a little bit disconnected from the purpose, but performance is the main indicator. Like beauty shouldn't be the KPI. So if I want beauty to be KPI, I would be doing something else. I wouldn't be doing ads.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've met some artists that were in marketing, like artists, and it's not a good match because you have deadlines. And I need this ad by Friday because I need to run it or the weekend. And the artist would be like, it's not possible. I need one more week because it's not gonna be that good I want it to be. And this is something that shouldn't be in marketing.
So, like, I think the artist is such an umbrella term, like many things can mean artist. And there's people who have vision. I call them, they have vision and they want to realize their vision. Vision is not always practical, and ads, they have to be practical. But then there are artists or creative people who are problem solvers, who enjoy solving problems. You need to visually attract this type of people in those various different contexts and ways, and they are looking for solutions. So that's also very creative. So it's basically like when you have math. Math is also like a very creative subject, even though many people who are not into math don't think so. You have a problem and you're looking for the right solution, basically. So, and I think that you need to come to terms with what your job is. And as you mentioned, Martin, the effectivity, like whatever the deadline is, you should be able to provide quality. And the quality is not going to be your perfect vision. It's going to be what's possible within the constraints. And you can have time constraints, you can have budgetary constraints, you can have technical constraints. And striving for this, that's actually a huge challenge. And it's very mentally taxing to come up with solutions when there are many constraints. So in my opinion, a good artist is someone who can work within constraints and always deliver a good product, because that's way more difficult than just realizing your vision.
Smart. Is that something that you would say like junior artists, like some junior artists listening to us and they are scared of everything, of making ads, being creative, AI taking their jobs? Like, what would you tell them? What advice would you give them?
If you want to make game art, just do it, but don't compete for a niche that's taken over by AI. And what I mean by this is that I'm going to use an analogy, and I think it's quite cute. So if you want to work on a farm, just go work on a farm. But it would be a little strange if you wanted to be the combine harvester, because we have those huge machines that are really good at harvesting the wheat. You're not going to be the harvester. No one is going to hire you. They're going to buy a harvester. So it's the same with AI. There is still spots and positions that are creative or technical enough which AI cannot really handle. So if you want to work in games, and it's the same about as it was with the purpose of ads, and the KPIs of ads. Like, what are your KPIs? What do you want to do at your job? And if you want to work with games, and find a job that gives you the opportunity to work with games. If you want to produce something that AI can produce and is producing on a regular basis, that's going to be way more difficult. So it's important to really get to terms with what I want to do and what my options are. And there's plenty of options to be creative in the gaming industry. So I wouldn't think that there's anything to worry about for young starting artists.
It's a little bit more optimistic take.
Yeah, it's just, I'm going to be a little bit more pessimistic now. So I think illustrators have it the toughest, because illustration is something that AI is really good at, because it doesn't really require this technical layer, and it doesn't really require this creative layer, because you generally just get a brief, like what needs to be painted and stuff. So that's really tough for illustrators. If you want to do illustrations, it's gonna be harder for you to find some footing, especially because the entry-level jobs are gonna be taken over by AI. Because no huge company can afford to only function on AI with illustrations. But you need to find a way, like those stepping stones are being taken away from you by AI. So this is I think one of the biggest worries currently in the creative industry. And I also think that this is gonna have an impact on knowledge transfer, because when people see that there is no incentive in pursuing a certain path in the creative business or the art world, they're not going to do it. There's going to be fewer people who are going to be doing it, and we could see this in the past that humanity as a whole just lost some skills or some knowledge.
But there is this thing, what people are saying, and I totally agree with that, is that with AI, when you are starting to art or writing, you just need to work longer without getting paid, because AI, it's on certain level. You need to reach certain level now to make some profit. Do you think that there's gonna be AI director in years? Because these junior artists, they maybe will give up and maybe just do AI art.
I just want to follow up a little bit because I have to say that even when I was starting as a game artist or just in the gaming industry as an artist, it was already extremely tough to land a job, and it's gonna be tougher because of that, of what you mentioned right now. So I just wish the best of luck to people, and just find your way of doing things. Be a VFX artist. Everybody needs VFX artists because nobody is doing that. And there you have animation, you have a little bit of technical stuff, you have a little bit of everything. So yeah, that's one of the avenues to go. But back to your question, like, I don't think there's gonna be an AI art director anytime soon. I don't know if there's gonna be one in the future, in some 5 to 10 years. You never know. Like Midjourney came out of the blue, so maybe art director journey is gonna come up, next week or something, and this whole podcast is gonna be like a thing of the past. But what I experience from my work, it's not limited, but it's not expensive with AI. The AI is a yes man, and I don't think an art director can be a yes man. AI is very good at reinforcing your opinions and your ideas. It's actually very good at creating echo chambers, end up telling you what you want to hear. And as an art director, you need to challenge ideas, and you need to be able to think for yourself, which I've never seen AI actually do that. It can give me a breakdown, it can give me a strategy, it can give me some ideation, but all it does is just forming an echo chamber for me, just helping me along the way. Not currently. I don't think there's going to be an art director maybe there's going to be a AI powered art director, which is already happening, I think, but not complete replacement. Not anytime soon.
That's a very good point, Boris, by the way. I never realized that it's like an echo chamber, meaning it never asks me why do you think this way? You should think differently. I'm expecting now AI to be like that in the future, yeah. Kind of challenging my opinions and views. But I don't think it will actually happen in today's society with all the social media and stuff. People don't want to really be challenged. But it's an interesting point. I never actually realized it. Whenever I ask, it's yeah, this is also my idea. This is a breakdown. It's always like that.
According to ChatGPT, I'm the smartest man alive, because everything I say or tell them, they're just so excited. They're AI is basically a dog with less charisma currently.
Okay, guys, so we can wrap this up.
I have one more question.
Great. Okay.
No, it's just out of the topic. What's your favorite game of all time? Let's finish with this question.
Oh, you want a short answer? There's no short answer. There's
no, one game. One game only. One game only. That's it.
Slay the Spire.
Okay. I won't. I'll be like AI. I'm not gonna challenge you. This is amazing pick, Boris.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. Thank you, Boris, for being our guest. It was great thoughts from your side. I'm a little curious how the artists will react to this episode. Is they gonna listen to it? Anyway, thank you for being here. You've been an amazing guest.
Yeah, thank you very much, Boris. You pretty much confirmed what I said at the beginning. You are a smart guy who is also creative. And you proved it. So thank you very much for being here.
Thank you very much for having me as well. Good luck.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye.